the last thing we talked about was two things that Mullah guided us in Golden Jubilee. That if you wanted to stay on right path, or if you wanted to recognize the Imam of the time, then you must follow and understand the Ayah Nur and Hadith Saqlain. So we're going to talk about Hadith Saqlain for a second, then we'll come to Ayah Nur. That why Imam is putting so much emphasis on Ayah Nur. What does Ayah Nur has to do with recognition of the Imam? And the last question is, do we not recognize the Imam already? Do we not know who Imam is? Or is the recognition of Imam is more than knowing the name of the Imam? So the entire world, including all the Muslims and Ismailis, they know this Frenchman, Aga Khan, he's a Ismaili Imam, and since last Juma, Imam has been announcing that we are the direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad and Ali, and we are the right and truthful Imams. So by name, everybody knows. Do we know Imam like the person sitting in Parliament in Canada? Do we know the Imam, someone in Dubai in Africa, wherever he goes, or the President of Portugal? Do we know the Imam like them? Or do we know about this Imam more than that? How do we recognize the Imam? Not knowing the Imam. Everybody knows the Imam is. Recognizing the Imam. What is the recognition of Imam? We know how Imam becomes Imam. We talked about that yesterday. And how does Imam function? What does he have that makes him Imam? Do we call him Ali Allah? Do we believe he is Allah? All those questions, when we have the answer to those questions, then we can say, yes, as per Imam's wish, we recognize the Imam. But that's what he said. I wish my Jamaat would recognize me. And he's saying this at the 50th anniversary of Imamat, at the Golden Jubilee. After 50 years of Imamat, if Imam has to sadly ask leaders, and that I wish that my Jamaat will recognize me. I'm sure if somebody weak like me was sitting there, I would have died. I don't think I would have been able to take that. That after 50 years, we don't know Imam. So today we're going to try to learn that two part. One, we're going to repeat that again for Mukhi Sahib since he was not here yesterday. How does Imam becomes Imam? To become an Imam, it requires 5 things. Meaning there are 5 conditions for Imam to become Imam. 5 conditions. 2 of them are generic, meaning it is common to the Jamaat and the Imam. From the previous Imam, let's say today is 1957, the Imam of that time, he gives 2 things to the Imam which is also shared by the Jamaat. And that is the love of the Imam and the knowledge of the Imam. He shared those with the upcoming Imam, and he also gives his love and his ilm. When we say ilm, we are talking about the true knowledge of the Imam. Not economical information, not other generic information, because he shares that with everybody. I'm talking about the true knowledge of the Imam, ilm-e-batini, that he shares with the Jamaat in the shape of Faramin, in the shape of Baitul Khya Farman, in the shape of Majalis Faraman, higher level Faramins, and the personal guidance he gives to the Jamaat, how to move about in Ruhaniyat, not in physical world. Whatever he gives us guidance for the physical world is also for the benefit of the spiritual world. He wants us to be happy and prosper, so we may pay attention to our spiritual enlightenment. Not only so we can be living in a big houses and be rich. He wants us to be comfortable, so we may pay attention to what is important, and that is our spiritual life. So those two things he shares with the Jamaat and upcoming Imam. The next three things that he gives to the upcoming Imam, which are particular to that Imam only. The middle one, the third condition for Imam to become Imam is that the Imam, the current Imam, gives his own Ism-e-Azam to next upcoming Imam. And here the important and underlining word is his own Ism-e-Azam. What does that tell us? That if Imam also gives Ism-e-Azam to us. But when he is giving the Ism-e-Azam to the next upcoming Imam, he gives his own Ism-e-Azam to him.
It's like a power, the Nurani power.
You can say that. So what we know about this Ism-e-Azam is that there is a one Ism-e-Azam that is carried out by all Imams, from Mullah Ali all the way to Shah Karim. And that is the most powerful Ism-e-Azam of all. So, we all know there are 99 names of Allah. And as we get used to those 99 names, you will find out some are more powerful than the others. And as we study the Quran, we will find out from the Quran how some Ism-e-Azam are more powerful, or why some Ism-e-Azam are called the greater name or greater kalma, the greater word compared to the others, even though all of them are right there. Let's take just a couple of examples. Think of Allah's name, Al-Wahidul Qahar. Now, to a Muslim, when they see the Ism Al-Wahidul Qahar, इसका क्या मतलब है कि वो जबरदस्ती से सबको एक कर लेता है. अल-वाहिद, एक करने वाला, कहार, जबरदस्ती से, कि वो जबरदस्ती से सबको एक कर लेता है. Now, if you think of this Ism-e-Azam, you will say, what kind of Ism-e-Azam is that? कि वो जबरदस्ती से सबको एक कर लेता है. And that is your Ism-e-Azam now. Right? Let's think about the Al-Jabbar. Same, वो जबार है, गजब करने वाला है, जाबिर है. In worldly sense, it's hard to swallow. Lekin that's one of his name. So let's just take second one, Al-Jabir. एक माँ अपने बच्चे को सुबह को उठाकर जबरदस्ती से ड्रैग करके स्कूल ले जाती है. उस बच्चे के लिए उस दिन वो माँ जो है ना, वो अल-जाबिर का काम करती है. Is she really mean? No. He doesn't know that कि मेरी माँ जो मेरे लिए आज कर रही है, how important that is for my tomorrow, for my future. Because he does not know that, to him today इसकी माँ ये काम कर रही है. इसी तरह से खुदाम ताला sometimes uses his power of al-jabir for us to do things for tomorrow which we don't even understand because we don't see कि कल क्या होने वाला है. So now you understand all those ismi azams in Quran are on the different level. Some are easy for us to understand. For example, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Then again my question will be, do we really know what that means? Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. ये हम जमा से भी निकालते हैं या रहमान या रहीम या रहमान. Have you ever thought अगर दोनों के मायने exactly same है so why are we repeating two different words for the same meaning? There is a kulliya, the key, when we read Quran. If a word is repeated, then it gives a different meaning to those words. अगर दो word repeat होता है, for example, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. यहाँ पर when we say Ar-Rahman, which is most merciful, he's talking about he's the most merciful for the entire al-Nas. सबके लिए दुनिया के जितने भी लोग हैं सबके लिए वो Ar-Rahman है. But his attribution of Rahim is most merciful for the one who follows him. आपने देखा कि एक ही जगह पर दो वर्ड है, दोनों की मीनिंग सेम है, लेकिन जब रहमान की बात आती है तो वो सबके लिए है, इंटायर वर्ल्ड. जब रहीम की बात आती है तो वो अपना वो एट्रीब्यूशन उनके लिए रखता है, मीनिंग इज मोस्ट मर्सीफुल ऑन दोज हु फॉलोज हिम. लेट्स टेक द सेम चीज कंसेप्ट समझने के लिए, हमारी मिसाल के लिए इट्स इजी टू फॉर अस अंडरस्टैंड. आज बरकत भाई के घर पे कुछ मेहमान आए हैं. अगर इसके भाई की बेटी, इसकी बहन की बेटी, साले की बेटी कोई भी इधर आएंगी तो बोलेंगे बेटा आ, यहाँ डोनट पड़ा है, यहाँ चाय पड़ा है, पी ले. लेकिन जब इनके इनहेरिटेंस की बात आएंगी और जब वो बोलेंगे बेटा इधर आ, लेट मी शो यू माय विल, आई एम गोना लीव ऑल दिस टू यू, हु डू यू थिंक इज टॉकिंग टू एट दैट टाइम? अपनी साली की बेटी से, अपने भाई की बेटी से, अपनी बहन की बेटी से, या अपनी खुद की बेटी से? उसको भी उसने बेटा बोला, उसको भी बेटा बोला. इस मिसाल से हमको पता चलता है कि गॉड जब बोलता है कि ओ माय चिल्ड्रन इन द जेनेरिक लेवल अल्लाह के लिए, तो वो अपना रहमान का एट्रीब्यूशन यूज करता है. लेकिन जब वो खास लोगों के लिए बात करता है तो वो रहीम का एट्रीब्यूशन यूज करता है. तो बज़ाहिर ऑन द सरफेस इफ यू डोंट पे अटेंशन दे बोथ आर सेम, रहमान. दूसरे की मिसाल के बाद हम चलेंगे इमाम की तरफ. हम एक तस्वीर निकालते हैं, यार या मौला तू रहम कर, या मौला तू फजल कर. अगेन ऑन सरफेस दे बोथ मीन द सेम. तुम पर रहम कर, तुम पर फजल कर, राइट? ये भी हम निकालते हैं. रिमेंबर द की, इफ वर्ड इज रिपीटिंग मीनिंग चेंजेस. यहाँ पर जब बोलते हैं या मौला तू हम पर रहम कर, बी मर्सीफुल ऑन आवर सोल, देन व्हेन वी से या मौला तू फजल कर, तो यहाँ पर फजल जो है ना अब रहम के लिए नहीं है, वो फजीलत से है, हमारे दर्जात को बुलंद करने के लिए है. कि या मौला तो हम पर रहम करके हमें फजीलत अनायत फरमा, हमारे दर्जात को बुलंद कर. जब हम कोई भी चीज़ करते हैं जमाताने में, कोई भी हमारी क्रिया है, we just don't do it just because we are doing it. We need to pay attention to it. What are we doing? What does it mean? And it's okay if you don't understand, ask. Just don't follow it without understanding it. क्यों कि जब हम अंडरस्टैंड करके कोई चीज़ पढ़ते हैं, अब सोचें, जस्ट नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन वी आर इन जमात है ना, और या रहमान या रहीम की तस्वीर पढ़ी जा रही होगी, हमारा माइंडसेट क्या होगा उस वक्त? इट बी 100%। जब या मौला तो रहम कर या मौला तो फजल कर की तस्वीर पढ़ी जा रही होगी, हमारा माइंडसेट क्या होगा? फ़ौरन से हमारा माइंड हमको बोलेगा कि मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि अल्लाह तो मेरे पर रहम करके मेरे दर्जात को बुलंद फरमा। इल बी नो मोर कि या मौला तो रहम कर एंड या मौला तो फजल कर। इल बी नो मोर ऑफ दैट गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, because now today we understand that part. All right, let's come back to the इसमें आज़म। यहाँ से हमारा कन्वर्सेशन शुरू हुआ था इस तरफ। So Imam of the time gives his own Ism Azam, the most powerful Ism Azam, to his next upcoming Imam. And that was the third condition to become Imam. The fourth one is the progeny, uski itrat. Meaning, even though we all have Ism Azam, we cannot become Imam because we are not from his progeny. लेकिन only those who can become Imam जो इमाम की प्रोजनी से है, इमाम की इतरत से है. And we all know this part easily. The question comes over here, what about अगर इमाम के 1, 2, 3, 4 बेटे हो? And what about बेटी? Because बेटी भी तो इमाम की प्रोजनी से है और बेटे भी इमाम की प्रोजनी से हैं और सब भाई इमाम की प्रोजनी से हैं. So how do we understand that part now? Because इमाम knows कि नेक्स्ट इमाम कौन बनने वाला है, वो उसी बेटे को अपना वो खास इसमें आज़म देता है कि जो नेक्स्ट इमाम बनने वाला है, और वो बेटा उसकी प्रोजनी से होता है और वही फिर आगे जाके इमाम बनता है, यानी कि और कोई नहीं. मीनिंग, why am I repeating this again? What about that इमाम इसमें आज़म जो खास इसमें आज़म है और इमाम किसी मुरीद के ऊपर मेहरबान हो जाए, तो इमाम के पास कोई लिमिट नहीं है कि वो क्या दे सकता है आपको. एंड ही गिव्स दैट इसमें आज़म टू यू एंड टू यू. Now you have met 3 conditions already, first, second and third. What do we don't have? The fourth condition, the progeny. So even the third one could happen in the Jamaat. Because Mullah ke paas koi limit nahi hai. If that's what he wants, beshak, he can give that Ismi Azam to anyone he pleases. इसके लिए कोई लिमिट नहीं है. लेकिन फोर्थ कंडीशन मस्ट बी मेट. अब वो फोर्थ कंडीशन के अंदर जो हमने बात की कि देयर कुड बी मल्टीपल सन एंड डॉटर्स, ओनली वन बिकम्स इमाम, कि जिसके लिए इमाम अपना अमर छोड़े जाता है. द वन ही लिव्स हिज विल टू, एंड दैट सन और दैट grandson in our case becomes Imam. So Imam has to meet all these 5 conditions. Can you imagine now, from this morning conversation, which was about 10 to 12 minutes ago, we said Imam wishes us to recognize him. And the first condition for us to recognize him was to even know how Imam becomes Imam. Now after 12 minutes, we know how Imam becomes Imam. And that should give us some kind of happiness in our heart, that out of all this 12 million Jamaat, how many of us really know how Imam becomes Imam? Because normal notion is what? Imam ने बोला कि भाई ये आपका इमाम होगा नेक्स्ट, हमने बोला आमीन, हम गए, हमने बैत करा ली. या अगर हम उस ज़माने में पैदा होते हैं, when Imam is already there, and meaning Imamah is not changing, then our parent takes us to Jamaatana, we take the bayat, and then we grow up to be whatever, and that's it. We don't ask questions. Or we don't try to understand the Imam. We don't try to recognize the Imam. Now, let's come back to the recognition of Imam part. And we will come to Ayah Nur as well, because Ayah Nur holds the key to recognition of Imam. In Ayah Nur, let's take one single phrase from that ayah first to understand Imam, to recognize Imam. And that word is Nuran ala Nur. The Nur upon Nur, or the Nur after Nur, or Imam after Imam. That is the law in the Quran for Allah in embodied person, human. Allah saying in that part right there, okay, where will you find my Nur in this world? Where would you find it? In different ayahs, in different places, Allah has given us indication. For example, Surah Baqarah, ayat number 210, he talks about how he will come to this world and who he will come with. Then Surah Qadr, 97, he talks about where he's going to put his soul into and how he's going to come with. And then 89:22, he talks about again that he will come, or his recognition will come with whom. And throughout the Quran, throughout the Quran, one thing you will find in common, only people will understand Imam or the Allah is the one who has knowledge. So bottom line is, if we don't try to have some knowledge of our deen, and when I say again ilm over here, we are talking about ilm batini, not a knowledge going to school. Even though a couple of days ago on Friday the Farman was read, and Mullah Abba says, when I emphasize on the knowledge, circular education, when you take that, it should help you understand the God's creation. And then he says what? It's not that you cannot use this to better your economic situation or your social status. But I emphasize, Allah says, that this knowledge is for the recognition and to understand the creation of God. Meaning, वो भी हमारी रूहानी तरक्की के लिए ही है, क्योंकि जब हम दुनिया का इल्म लेते हैं तो वो हमको एक चीज़ सिखाती है, और क्या वो है? हमको रिसर्च करना सिखाती है, हमको पर्सनल सर्च करना सिखाती है. It gives us the notion that it's okay to go out and seek something that we don't have, to get something that we don't have. That's what education does to a human. It brings out the curiosity in person's mind, and it teaches them to go out and seek something. All right. So come back to Nur ala Nur, the concept of Nur after Nur. And you had brought out the Jamaat of Syria yesterday. That when Sultan Muhammad Shah gave his will to Hazrat Imam and said, my son, Prince Ali Salman's son, Kareem, will be your next Imam, Syrian Jamaat said, No, but that is against the law of Nuran ala Nur. Remember you brought it up? But you did not know why they said that. Because the law of Nuran ala Nur means the father Imam, the son Imam. The son Imam, the father Imam. That's what Nuran ala Nur means. Nur after Nur. Imam after Imam. And if you read the Imam's Farman very carefully, he will tell you that generation to generation, Imamat has come to you. The rope of Imamat has continued. The Nur has continued. Then we see that time comes that it breaks. It didn't go from father to son to son. And Syrian Jamaat said, what? No, that is against, remember as a Khoja Jamaat, we don't have the knowledge of the Quran. But rest of the 12 million Jamaat, I don't know, what is the population of Khoja Jamaat? Does anybody know? 200,000? 300,000? Half a million?
Yeah, it's somewhere there.
Out of 12 million Jamaat, we are only half a million, let's say. If that. I don't think it is even that, right? 11.5 million of Ismaili Jamaat are readers of the Quran. And they understand Imam from the Quran. And they understood Imam and recognized Imam when Imam had never visited them. Right? So for a second, just to challenge our mind and our heart, when Imam said, I wish my Jamaat would recognize, who do you think he was referring to? To those 11.5 million Jamaat or us, 500,000 Jamaat? And again, I'm going to bring the attention to Hadith al-Saqlain. When Imam gave that wish, he said what? Take these two things with you, and if you understand these two things, then you will recognize the Imam. And what were those two things? Ayah Nur and Hadith al-Saqlain. Do we know what Hadith al-Saqlain is? Hadith al-Saqlain?
Let's
Yeah, we
repeat.
talked
Let's
yesterday
repeat.
about-
Let's repeat.
Yeah, we talked yesterday.
Yeah, let's touch
Go ahead.
upon it. Oh, okay. So Hadith al-Saqlain is the Hadith of Prophet Muhammad in which he says that I am leaving two things behind me, two weighty things, bhari cheezein, right? And number one is my book, Quran, and second is my progeny, itrat, meri aal. If you hold on to these two things, you will never become sect. फिरका नहीं हो जाएंगे. ये हदीस सकलैन है. तो किताब को मानने वाले बज़ाहिर अगर हम देखते हैं तो book was followed by kind of Sunni Muslims, whereas Maula Ali was followed by Shia Muslim. Whereas the hadith was that if you were to follow these two things, then you will not become sects. So, generally when we discuss in classes, we say that if you only follow Imam, go to Jamaat Khana, Isme Azam, but you do not have the knowledge of Quran, you are not following the instructions given to us to become one Jamaat. And the Sunni Muslims who follow Quran, they learn Quran, they are Hafiz Quran, but if they don't have the knowledge or Isme Azam of Imam's Ta'i, they will not understand the Quran. And that's how we become sects. So in Ismaili Jamaat, we are so blessed that today we are learning this hadith, and Imam had instructed to us in Golden Jubilee that we need to understand Ayah Nur and Hadith Saqlain. That teaches us today that we are so blessed with Imam, his farmans, his Isme Azam. But today if we were to understand the Quran, then truly we will understand, we will know the Imam, the recognition of Imam in true sense. So when we talk about Syrian Jamaat, they were smarter, I would say, because they were reading Quran and they understood this kulya of light upon light. We have read this term and heard about it, but we never understood what it meant. father Imam, son Imam. So Syrian Jamaat was, in a way different, that they asked question. But again, I would say that we are blessed again that today we are asking this question to understand that what does it mean to be light upon light. So the knowledge of Quran and the Ismail Azam of Imam, when you follow both the things, you understand the miracles of Imam. We call in Nadi Ali Imam, he's a Mazrul Ajaib. But how is it that he's Mazrul Ajaib? We don't understand his miracles. So when we have both the knowledge of Imam's Farman, Imam's Ismail Azam, and Quran, then it completes the understanding. Otherwise, we have half the understanding. When we have half the understanding, it affects our faith too. Because Imam's Farman, Sultan Muhammad Shah, Salawatullah Alaihi, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. He has always said that, don't make your faith like a tree. If the wind is from this side, you'll go that side. If wind comes from this side, you'll go that side. This doubt or shakiness comes when we don't have the strong foundation. And the foundation is built on knowledge. When we have the true knowledge, nobody can put doubts in us. Today in Jamaat, when we take these classes, especially younger generations, they ask us, like yesterday that kid asked, Imam as an idea or Imam as a person? Who do we believe on? And I was like, wow, what a question. So when we were to have this discussion with him, he will understand that the recognition of Imam actually is in Quran. We are blessed with Imam's personality, Imam's Farman, Imam's Ismail Azam, but we see that Jamaat is craving for this knowledge. We see that Jamaat is asking question, and our younger generation is going out to seek knowledge. And that is why we were emphasizing yesterday that we need to seek knowledge from our own, Ismaili Jamaat, who understand the Quran from the understanding of Ismaili Tariqa. Because the Quran, the Arabic is same, but the translation can be influenced by your beliefs. If you were to read Sunni Quran, translated by Sunni scholar, it will be different. If you read translation by a Shia scholar, it will be different. If you read, translation by Ismaili Mu'min, inshallah, it will be different, because it is our beliefs that influences the translation and the interpretation. So again, the emphasis is on interpretation, that ta'wil matters. If we don't understand the ta'wil, if we just do follow our religion, the way Imam has said, if you go to Jamaat Khana morning and evening, you say dua, it's like following a physical deen. And he says that if you will not teach the religion to your children, they will follow the deen as monkeys. And Imam says that in Farman. Because what does monkey do? I see you and I'll copy you. So whatever our parents taught us, we do it. Say dua, Jamaat Khana jana hai, dason dalni hai, nandi le jani hai. But what does it mean? Jamaat Khana hazinda bolna hai. But what does it mean? So Imam has said to us that if you will not understand the true batini meaning, our religion is esoteric religion. If we will not understand the batini meaning of a religion, we will follow the physical deen. And our deen is not physical at all. So everything which we do in Jamaat Khana has a meaning behind it. When we understand the meaning, then the true ishq comes in our heart. We go to Jamaat Khana and we do bandagi, we do everything, all the kiryas. But sometimes I feel that it doesn't touch me inside. It doesn't make me feel the way I want to feel. And that feeling comes from the understanding of true knowledge. So we are sitting here today actually following Imam's Farman, and he says that try and understand the meaning of your religion, because tomorrow when your children will grow up and ask questions, you will know how to answer. And I think we are the most vulnerable, I would say, as a parents, because we came to different country. And when we are not able to give answers to our children and they are exposed to all other religion, they're asking why? Why do I go to Jamaat Khana? Yesterday that kid asked us, okay, if we talked about Niyaz, and we were trying to explain to him the hierarchy of religion through all the, kum and ghara and cup and pyal. And he's like, doesn't intention matter? Why do I have to execute the whole process of it? I have to just drink Niyaz, I'll drink Niyaz. But if we were to not tell him what it symbolically means, how will I value or appreciate what I'm doing? Otherwise, it's like, why are you making things so difficult? Why can't it be simple? That's how they will, ask questions. So I think it is more important for us today to understand our religion so we can tell our children what does it mean. And that's why I think it is extremely important for us to take this personal search, become again a student, study Quran and learn from classes, and go further so we understand how to recognize the Imam. So light upon light.